Welcome back. Trade Union Federation, Fedusa, says it's ready to fight until government agrees to raises for public servants. Public sector increases have been frozen until at least 2024 because of limited funds. Fedusa says the freeze is unfair given the billions lost to corruption each year. Riefdah Ajam, who's Fedusa's General Secretary, joins me now via Skype. Riefdah, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. The government seems determined to stick to their plan of freezing the wage increases until 2024. How are you going to fight this?
Well, good afternoon to you, first of all, and thank you for the opportunity. I think what is important for us to understand is that the same determination that government is displaying right now equally will be emphasized from our side as organized labor. We cannot continue to have this business as usual approach when we are seeing billions lost to corruption and deserving public servants are shown the door. It is simply not correct. We have seen the ability, we have seen the service delivery capabilities throughout the lockdown when public servants were continuously and diligently serving the front line. So we will not be in any such way accepting that government cannot find the funds.
What about the realities on the ground? Government argues that it doesn't have the money given the current economic realities in the country right now. We've got the pandemic that's confronting us and the damage that it's done to our economy. So some may argue government simply won't have that money to increase the wages, even though they agreed to do so 3 years ago. So are you not fighting a losing battle? You're dealing here with the stuck realities on the ground of government that doesn't have money.
Well, the stark realities that we are faced with is the fact that government has continued to loot. Government officials have continued to find their hands in the cookie jars. And we simply believe that if all these commissions of inquiries that are currently running and the explosive revelations coupled with the work that has been done by the SIU can bear fruit, then most certainly the funds that have been, or the funds that we are hoping will be recovered from all these initiatives can be used to pay deserving public servants. There is no question about that. Government simply has to reverse this cancer that we are faced with, which is corruption, and pay the deserving public servants.
We've been warned for some time now about the unsustainable wage bill. We're living in unfavorable economic and fiscal circumstances. For every 10 rand of government expenditure, we are told by Treasury that more than 3 rand is spent on public servant salaries. Surely that's not sustainable, and that's part of the reasons why government says now we can't give the increases. We need to start stabilizing this wage bill.
There is most certainly a narrative that government continues to feed the general public out there, but we have to look at the flip side of the coin and we have to dissect the discussion in all its facets. We know full well that when the 2018 MTBPS was presented, we saw the astronomical levels of inflation. And I mean, when I say inflation, I mean the inflating amounts of salaries that were awarded to executive level. We are not talking about the salaries at the bottom end of the spectrum where we should actually be taking a look at the real consequences of. And if we start separating the public service from the state-owned enterprises, we will actually see the reality on the matter. So we have to look at both sides of the coin here and exercise that fruitless and wasteful expenditure that has been part and parcel of this process, because we are in essence able to become a capable state by utilizing the expertise of the public sector, and we should not continue to feed the public with a one-sided narrative that does not do justice to the real cause.
Is there a point where you're willing to meet government? Did they not make a revised offer sometime earlier this year that was rejected by the unions? In other words, are you willing to compromise, and to what end are you willing to do that?
You see, we have to separate fact from fiction here, because ultimately we cannot allow Minister Mboweni to continue the notion that he pushes by ensuring that explosive announcements are made in the media. We will not allow the legitimization of that kind of mentality, because any form of negotiations takes place in the Public Service Coordinating Bargaining Council, not in the media. When we speak about what has happened in terms of going back to the negotiations table, we are questioning government in terms of undermining the very facets of collective bargaining. And I have to emphasize that when we speak about this agreement that government had reneged on, we asked with tears in our eyes why government in itself had in 2018 been the first one to show its hand to openly and publicly express and endorse the 3-year agreement that had been signed. And when you take that into account, it means that government most certainly had the funds to be able to uphold the 3-year agreement, full stop. So it is not a matter of the unwillingness of public servants to negotiate. We are talking about the fact that government in itself had not been able to uphold its side of a legally binding agreement, which in essence undermines every aspect of collective bargaining.
Yeah, Riefdah, I'm looking at the statement that has just come through from the National Union of Public Service and Allied Workers, and they are announcing that the court has now granted the union a set date for the wage agreement dispute in court. Are you going to be joining that court case? Have you joined it? What are you hoping will come out? Because you've decided now, as other unions, that you will even fight government through the courts on this one.
The issue at hand here is that Fedusa and the Fedusa-affiliated public sector unions have been the ones that had initiated the legal action. We had gone directly to the Labour Court in terms of this matter. We had not gone via the PSCBC. So in this regard, we are utilising all aspects at our disposal, and we will remain true to the mandate that has been given to us by our members. So that is the action that has been initiated by the Fedusa-affiliated public sector unions, that we are seeing the matter through at the Labour Court.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Riefdah Ajam is the General Secretary of Fedusa.